What's up? Give me a little bit here, real quick. I'm going into my emails. Oh, geez. Where's archived? That's annoying. There it is. Trying to get into the. You can see the chat here, guys. We're gonna play some Tour 12. Just mess around more so than anything. Uh, let's see. Golf Clash. Let's see what I get in this chest. 800 coins. Desert Storm. A Navigator. Yes, how great. Because I use so many navigators in Tour 12. I've actually been doing a little bit more 11 than 12. So a little bit nervous on doing some 12, but we're just going to do it and just mess around. I know the gist of kind of all the shootouts. I think I've got them a couple times now. But if you guys want to see my progress here, I've been messing around a little bit more with 11 because I'm missing the trophies. I think I had this a little bit closer when I came back, but then coming in here, both of these tours can be a little grueling for sure. I've played my handful in 12, handful in 11. What I don't like about 11 is I don't get as many live opponents. So we get in Tour 12, we'll get some live matches. So seems to make for a little bit more interesting matches. Thanks, Jason. Appreciate you showing up here as well. Just going to work through some holes here. Just mess around more than anything. Try to get some wins, see what happens. We'll do some Tour 12. We're going to go, let me just go ahead and open Notebook real quick. Got my grids kind of the way that I want it. Let me make sure that I get my bag in here. So right now my default is still on Hammerhead. So I'm just going to override that temporarily. If you want to see kind of where my progress is, since, you know, some of these guys have been asking about me creating content and everything, we're in Pro 1 now. You can see we'll be moving into Pro 2. I've been, like I mentioned, I've been grinding through some tour, but most of it's been actually 11. Maybe I should have did 11 stream. But I got some requests. I think there was at least, you know, a couple of different guys. They said, hey, can you do some 12? So we're going to do some 12. I have still done some 12, don't get me wrong. But I've probably done maybe 15 matches. I've probably done at least double that in 11. So a little bit more comfortable in 11. But with that being said, I think there's still some old courses in here. I'm thinking the Glen Monarch course. Drummore, I barely remember. So I really barely remember ever playing Drummore, but it was in game. I think I might have did like one tournament in it before, you know, kind of calling it quits. Bonjour, Simon. Appreciate you being here. Like I mentioned, we're just going to kind of mess around a little bit in this tour. I might be able to, you know, maybe help the guy asking some questions. I did have, you know, even if they don't catch this stream, I had, like I was mentioning, a couple guys. Oh, that's a really nice shot. That just caught the second bounce on the fairway, and that was pretty excellently done. I'm a little worried with somebody getting out there. Of course, I wasn't even watching their shot. I know we used to be able to get over this bunker, but, you know, I really don't remember all that it entails to do it. It's kind of looking like, to me, maybe no overpower will be close. Maybe even take some off. Take a couple rings down. I really don't know what I'm doing here. So probably a good chance that I'm going to screw this up. But why not give it a go? That's what I was trying to do, and that's what happened. I could see that at max it was probably going to land a little bit long, so I did pull back maybe a ring or two. It was very minimal, but we were able to get those bounces. And just that I kind of imagined, that's like kind of a perfect wind. If I didn't do that and if I didn't execute it, probably would have lost this match. This is probably one of the easiest wins you could get. It's interesting to see Horizon there. It's not something that I have ever used. I actually, funny enough, I don't even have a Horizon 7 yet. It's, I don't know if anybody remembers from back in the day, but it's one of the clubs that it was my least progressed club in my entire bag. I used to never get it for tournament wins or tournament anything. And of course, I moved out of the highest or the lowest divisions as fast as possible, which I think just kind of aided in not seeing it. So really didn't see too much of that club. I feel like I don't have to hook slice this. Otherwise, I typically might. I was thinking somewhere around 1 per ring here. See, it's 9 rings on the 10. We'll go 5 there, 10. We're going to be a little safe, a little cautious if we can. And you can see I'm even a little bit late on my timing. Didn't expect to be that late on my timing. See if it holds the fairway. It did. I would have still liked it to just be a tad bit closer. So it would have been nice to hit a little bit closer to the perfect ball there. I had just played Ultimate Golf before coming over here. The timing's a little bit different. The release is a little bit different. So I was a little bit late on that one. Here you can see minus 55 ball. I see a lot of this in 12. Realistically, I see a lot of it in 11 as well. It's a little frustrating to see just because it's like, well, in some situations, I get myself kind of really in a tight spot where it's like, it feels like if I'm not using those balls, it's hard to compete. Unfortunately, that great ball cost him. He would have had that with the perfect. I know I'm probably going to have to play some wind here, but I'm not sure how much. Let's see if I can get this one to drop. I kind of like this spot a little bit, just because how it seems like a ring or two is still causing the ball guide to kind of stay in the same spot. Just kind of zoom out a little bit, see what range we're talking about. I'm thinking, I don't know, 25% or less. Maybe 3 rings. I'd like to see what this visually appears like as well. See how far outside the edge I am. Perfect ball. It looks like just the right amount. So maybe a tiny bit of overpull, but we got it to fall. So we're 1 for 1. It's a good start, I guess. We got that chest. I don't know, I don't know if guys usually play, do you usually clear up spots? I kind of feel I'm at spot 20. So I'm at like progress 20 on this. I think I have most of the hard stuff done. What's this one? Oh, win and shootout. Almost should have went to shootout just to win that one. So I'm at 96 out of 100 on that. I'm about to. So I think I'm doing good progress wise to get the rest of these potentially. But I also see that it keeps going up, and you know, by the time it's 500 per, you know, it might be hard to go up one level at that point. But cool that we won that one. I played PGA Tour early on, but only in its infant stage. I wasn't necessarily thrilled with the way that the controls were on it. I don't know if they've made updates, and maybe it'd be something to look into. But what I did like about Ultimate Golf is, it was kind of similar. It's still real courses. So they still did use, real courses. And some of them from the old Tiger days that I used to play. So that's where I started my foundation. And in fact, the developers, they were contracted to do some of those Tiger Woods series. So they were contracted, I think it was from the '07 to the 12 or 13. The team there, Hip Games, was contracted to do the Tiger Woods. So you'll see the interface. The interface is very similar. I remember it being very similar to, if I remember '07, '08, 2009 for sure. Ultimate Golf plays a lot graphics wise, very similar to those games. Yep, appreciate that, Jim. Like I mentioned, we're going to do some 12. If you guys have some questions or thoughts or anything, let me know in the chat. I'll try to keep up with the chat as much as possible. Like I mentioned at the beginning here, we're just kind of doing some 12 just because guys asked me for it. This is probably my least rehearsed of the ones that I've been playing. I've been playing a little bit of 11, a little bit of 12, and I did some of the earlier stuff to max everything out again, because I did like a trophy dump. I did, on this account, I must have done at least 3 trophy dumps just to keep the game interesting, plus get down to, restart, that type of thing. So the last time I did it, I was missing trophies from Tours 1, 2, 3, 4. It was interesting to come back up and try to max those. Those were actually some of the more grueling ones, mainly because I was using basic only. So with the basic only in Tours 1 through 4, if you're only using basics, it's hard. But if you were using anything else, I would say you'd be pretty good, even a Marlin. Just being able to have a little bit of that side spin, and especially maybe a little bit of wind reduction, you get a lot more hole-in-ones that way. I'm not well versed on this hole. I'm thinking I should go down to this fairway, and I feel like I'm going to regret it if I don't. So I guess we're going for this shot. And of course, this isn't really something that I've dialed in yet. I've maybe only played this once or twice. But I did mention, for those who may not have seen it, I mentioned that these rings, do you see those curl rings that I'm using? Each color kind of dictates 1 bar's worth of spin. So for instance, that red line that you see, as long as you can see the colors on, that's 1 bar of side spin. The purple's 2 bars. Then that blue is 3 bars. That's more or less what I was doing there, was kind of like that 3 bar. Maybe just a tad bit more. So if you're using that, and realistically, in terms of like the whole span, that was probably about almost 60% curl of the max span. I was eventually going to try to work up to getting kind of like a visual diagram of that produced. But we'll see. A little bit of work to... Because the way that you see it now, it's just lines on the screen. But you can like relate that to positioning of what it looks like. Like, for example, take screenshots of what the ball position looks like in relation to the shot circle. And you can see he's using full. And of course, you definitely use full. All you have to do is just pull away from the edge more. So you'll see he's landing a little bit more to the left and then just going full. And, you could say that's a better shot than mine. And it might even work out better. I would imagine I'll still be good here. That's why I wasn't too worried about it. I was just trying to, more than anything, keep it in play. Any unforced error was a good thing. And then just wanted to take a look here. I'm going to play this, I think, pretty flat. 12-4. Maybe just a tad bit more backspin. I'll play this pretty close to max here, but at the same time, also, it's kind of a guess. So nothing too exacting. Maybe a little half bar of curl as well. Let's just see how this comes in. Could have used just a little bit more curl and maybe just a tad bit more backspin. You could also argue I could have just adjusted just maybe a half more ring. I might have been just a little bit shy of 11, and you can see that I wasn't doing it precision, especially once I start bringing in that curl factor. There's no way that I really know to be, precise when we're talking about going to curl one tick mark. It's going to be at least a cup's worth to the right or left anyway. It's really hard to say, only this many clicks, not one more type thing. Same thing with setting your power. It's hard to actually know, are you overpowering those curls? Are you underpowering them? Because one of the things they make you do is they make you pull the ball in the center of the circle. So then you have your thumb that you're trying to visualize where you're doing with the power in the way, kind of blocking your view. So it's really hard to set your power the same every time with your thumb in the way. I mentioned this on some other streams, just having fun. It's another app that we designed. It's called Guide for Ultimate Golf. It is free in the store. So you can go to the Android store right now. It's called Guide for Ultimate Golf. And there's a grid, a free grid that you can use. As far as migrating it over to the notebook, it's a very exhausting process. So, it might not be something that ever happens because there's not a lot of value in spending that kind of time on something when we already have something that's available for free. So as you can see, I use them simultaneously. So I'm using the notebook app and I'm also using Guide for Ultimate Golf simultaneously. And it is free to get the Guide for Ultimate Golf, and then I draw the circles. And yep, so that's that. So on this hole, I do like this hole. I don't like this wind angle though. So this is probably my least favorite wind angle. I usually end up pulling my rings at 6 o'clock. I don't know if others use the same similar technique, but I usually utilize 6 o'clock ring pulls here because it ends up going so much up that mountain face. And that's why I don't like this wind angle for this hole. So what we're going to do here is use some elevation. Should be relatively close. Let's go ahead and we'll do 12-3. Of course, that was a pretty tough shot to beat. So we got to keep that in mind. I usually utilize some backspin here with the tailwind. I'm thinking about 3 bars. And then because of all this wind effect and everything, we're going to try going to the right something along the lines of this. And then, like I mentioned, kind of pulling up this mountain face. I might just, so it doesn't pull long, do like an 11.59 or what is that, 5.59 in this case. Then maybe right around 12 rings. Perfect ball. Let's just see if we can get somewhat close here. Probably just shouldn't have tried to curl it back. That wind effect would have taken it towards the hole. I forgot how close that guy was, but I know he was in there pretty good overall. Oh yeah, inside a yard, that was going to be real hard to beat. And again, that's kind of one of those things that I mentioned in 4 yards. It's pretty decent. I've won some at that distance. I've lost some against a 55 win ball. That's one of those that I just kind of take my losses and just kind of move on from it. It's going to be real tough to beat that shot. But the biggest thing was that I think for that shot is kind of your pull angle. You can see I still came in a little bit hot. So one of the things that you could have done is maybe just a little bit harder on like the 559 type angle, which is kind of back towards the tee box a little. So when I did that adjustment there, make sure that you're kind of going a little bit shorter to keep it from stretching out too much on you. Another tip that you could do is maybe just a hint more backspin, which would be kind of equivalent, you know, either or. Yep, thanks, Jerry. Thanks for being here. Thanks, Dixon. Gonzalo. Happier life without Golf Clash. I can definitely get that. I was displaced from the game for a long time. And I came back really to just have some fun. We're not, you know, I'm never going to be taking this game too seriously. More so than anything, we're just going to be messing around and putting some content out there for guys who, you know, might be looking to kind of have some fun, do some dual streams or something. I brought that up, you know, definitely want to try to touch up with some of the old legends as well. Daniel MacArthur, we've already talked about kind of getting together for a dual stream. So we'll do some stuff that's just a little bit more friendly, a little bit more fun, as opposed to just, you know, taking this game seriously. For the long term, I only expect to have this account. So, you know, I'm not going to be trying to really pull anything out of retirement. I probably should be paying attention to some of these shots a little bit because I'm really in a tailwind. I have no idea how I'm going to get onto that island. 8 miles per hour. This is real interesting here. The odds of me hitting this, I feel, are so marginally low. That's why I feel like I should have been paying attention here. Definitely going to pull down some because I think it's going to overshoot on me a little bit. Tiny bit of curl. Let's just see what happens. So fortunate we got one. Definitely, you know, not expecting great results. I've played this a couple times. Of course, that wind's terrible. I think we'll be okay, maybe, with my tee shot. I think that's kind of the advantage to getting up here is it guarantees you can go for the green. And of course, I like my advantage on this opponent compared to Sniper 10. For example, last hole, that would have been a favorable win maybe, but that would have been a tough last hole in like a, you know, 8 o'clock win for Sniper, for example, or even 7 o'clock. Definitely nice to use Cataclysm in this tour for the extra. For that extra yardage. Now I kind of feel a little bit in between clubs here. So I guess we're going to just go and do a full backspin, not worry about this shot too much. I don't really think I can dial this too well. I'm not really 100% sure how that face is going to... Never hit this shot with a wood into it, so I'm not really sure how the fairway face is going to react to this ball. I'm actually surprised it didn't land a little bit longer than that. That's actually more or less what I was trying, hoping that it would do. But I didn't expect it to actually land that short, or else I would have pulled up another ring or two. Yep, that's right. So you'll have, so what you'll have, once you activate it, you'll have to draw. You'll actually have to draw objects. And yeah, so for everything that you try to do, you can also, you know, once I get out of this, I can kind of give you a better show of what to do. But there's a little plus sign in the corner, and that's how you start drawing things. So as soon as you go in with the plus sign, you can pull up object type, switch it to circle, and you can start drawing circles. And you'll just have to do an add for every circle, that type thing. But that's what keeps it free. You know, that's what makes it easy to keep it free for you guys, is to just have, you know, that add usage. So headwind here, what I've been doing is right similar to there. Is he going for a backspin shot, or is he doing the... So I've been doing a bump on this one. Not my favorite shot here. But I'm definitely thinking, you know, overplay. Some top spin, some curl, and just try to utilize the slope. I've not seen this shot done. It looks like he's going to keep it up top. So a very good opportunity to just kind of get us in play and keep it on the course. I'm thinking something to the lines of 14 some rings, 14 and a half rings with some topspin, something to the effects of this, and then maybe some curl on top of it. Overall, not too bad. Maybe get it up just a little bit higher on the hill. But all in all, not too bad of a shot. And of course, we got the photo finish. We want a shootout. So we're kind of working towards that, finishing out that. So hopefully you guys have been playing that somewhat similar. I've noticed a lot of, I was surprised to see that guy do that. I had not seen one person try that. Maybe in a full headwind it might work. I'm not sure. I've seen everybody do it the way that I did, for the most part. So I'd imagine if you've played some guys with that wind, you've probably seen almost everybody play it that way. The very first time I did it, I screwed it up pretty bad. But once I started dialing the amount that I was going, you know, kind of in the similar to this, like the 14, 15 range, somewhere in that range, I started getting it a much better percent. At first I was over adjusting it a little bit, maybe a little bit too much top spin, trying to compensate. I did leave it up on the hill a couple times. One of the things I was going to show, if you just bear with me real quick for just having fun. So if I go down to meshes here, one of the things that I can do after I've done the activate, you can see this is activate, deactivate. Once you have your grid activated, so let's just do blank slate here. This is where you're at. You have nothing drawn. So what you would do is you would do the plus. You can label it whatever you want. This is just an identifier. You could just call it like surfer aiming, whatever you wanted. Plus sign, we'll switch this to circle type. So this is sight circle type. I don't know what radius is good for you, but real close to 150, 149 is good on my device. It may not be for yours, but this is like kind of what the radius would look like. And then all I'll use is these D-pads. And I can get it anywhere on the screen that I want, just like this. We can change the thickness. We can make it as thick as we want. You can see kind of what I'm doing there. We can change the fill color real easily, press of a button. Similarly, we can copy these. So if you see one button over, I can just hit the copy button. It copies and duplicates the exact item. Once I go into this other item, I can offset it. So this would be an example. So you can see in real quick, I did 2 circles. Just by copying over the other one. We were able to just do that instantaneously. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that out, but just wanted to show you that. There you have it. Just having fun. Hopefully that makes some sense for you. If you have an additional question, let me know and I'll try to answer it for you. But you should be able to play around with it, and you'll see, you can do segmented. If you wanted to check out a couple of my other streams, I've done, like, if you see all this that I have over, like, on the left of my screen here, that's a segmented line type. On the left for Nirvana 8, Spitfire 7, and Endbringer 8. It's full club span at full zoom. So what you'll see, if I get myself in the rough, I'm going to use that to just like quickly size up, easily figure out a good range for my percentage in like 2 to 3 seconds just by going out to full zoom. And you can use that same trick for the segmented line. So that's how I have them different colors. What I do is I'll do different segments. Did I do 8 on accident, or did I do, or no, this is origin links. Is this 12? So you can do the same for segmented if you want, like, so you can break it down into 10 segments, 4 segments, 2 segments, and you can just like copy those and just make quick mods by using the copy feature. It lets you do a colored segmented, like you see on the left of my screen. That very tall one, that's for Nirvana 8. It's the one on the very far left. And I was able to draw that in a matter of seconds just by using the copy feature and doing a 10 segment, 4 segment, and 2 segments. And then the only other thing that you need is you'll need a screenshot of you at full zoom for those clubs. So like next time you get to Nirvana 8, you basically just take a screenshot at full zoom of the max span, and then you basically just draw it to that, because when you're max zoomed out, it's always going to be that fixed distance. The only thing that'll change it is if you use power 3 versus power 5. That's the only thing that's going to change that distance is a larger power ball. Yeah, a lot of people mention that, just having fun. You got to keep in mind that you're playing against people that will dissect this game to the nth degree. So it's fine if you're not willing to, but that's the reason that I kind of train you guys too. So you know what others are doing, and like that's the level that they'll take their game to. Any serious player would try to, optimize, use the tools to their advantage. And anything that and that's kind of the same thing about how the Ring app became created to begin with, was just, starting to dissect rings. It's the same kind of concept, is they'll really start to dissect that and, have these elaborate spreadsheets just saying, okay, yeah, I know I need to go this much percentage. You even see it on like the Tommy guides and stuff like that, where you'll see like the elevations to say, do this, do that, this type of wind angle, do this. Similar concept. You got to keep in mind, those are the type of people that you're playing against that are going to take this game and really dissect it. So the more that you use to kind of get yourself on their playing field, the more prepared you are at playing them. I do not know what to do here. I can see my opponent didn't work out. I really want to do hook slice, but I am worried that it won't get over far enough. I could be wrong. Somebody on this stream might know if I can or not. We could try to guess. He didn't go out of bounds. I don't know if he did hook slice, but since he didn't go out of bounds, why don't we just, what was that, 15, 20, 25? I don't think he did this shot, though. I think I would have, and I could be wrong, but I don't think he did this shot. That's probably not enough rings. No, it is. A little bit closer than I wanted to be. Just should have took off the top spin. Slow down, slow down, slow down. The only thing I should have did different is a little bit less top spin. Keeping it up on that flat, even if it would have been in the rough, I would have been pretty happy with that shot. And we're kind of in the same spot. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm mentioning is more of that tournament mindset. The more dissection and multiple accounts, multiple attempts, that's what's, really separating the field. If you're not willing to, really grind and know everything about the game, but on top of that, take it to the next level and just have, 5-10 iterations for that shot, it's going to be real hard to compete in tournaments. And from what I understand, it's probably, I would say, I'd say 3-5 times as hard as it was when I was in game. So it's probably gotten substantially harder. But this is exactly what I wanted to mention to you. So this is full zoomed out. I'll put my stance at 0, and then I'll just size this up. It's about 38%. Now, I won't actually, so this is right around 38% club. Now, there's always exceptions, and this is going to be one of those exceptions. The way this game with the physics work, when you're shooting uphill like this, what you're going to see is the ball, it's not going to be affected as wind. You can see that it's very low to the ground this whole process. So I think in this case, 3 is going to be a ceiling adjustment. You should never go more than 3 for like a flat. But we're going to go under 3 because of that effect. So we're going to try about 2.8 here and see if that's a little bit closer. And it was, but maybe even just a degree less than that, 2.7, 2.6. And like I said, I'm still getting back into things, so I really don't know as much as I used to. So my knowledge base just quite isn't there. I probably could have got that just a little bit more dialed with, more practice. I've never been down there. I knew that I had to go less than 3. I just didn't know how much less. But keep in mind, if I would have kept that up on the flat, it would have probably played very close to 3 rings for that shot. So it was really just being down in that gully and having to shoot up and then it not being in the wind as much because it's lower to the ground, the shot arc. Yep, no worries. Just having fun. Thanks for popping in. Thanks for the questions. Have no problem helping you get, kind of squared away. Hopefully you learned some things here. So that's great. What's Pendleton Gaming? Oh, you're saying rookie guides for free? Is that what it is? Okay, so we're going to try some kind of cat overplay here. I'm thinking something to the effect of this. Keep that ball guide over to the side like that, maybe. Maybe just pull this to a little bit of backspin. Thinking maybe around here. And max. Let's just try this, see what it looks like. Hopefully I don't butcher this too bad. This is my first time adjusting up on those rocks, so I'm hoping that this actually plays kind of the way I'm playing it. It looks like it's just leaning a little bit. I should have used maybe just a tad bit more backspin, but all in all, I'm kind of happy with that. Like I said, I really haven't got to the point where I've really started dissecting and really trying to master this tour yet. So all in all, that's pretty decent for me for just kind of doing it on the fly. Notice I kept the ball guide to the left. It probably just wasn't enough. So I should have just utilized just a little bit more left spin on the initial. I might have under adjusted maybe one ring. I might have been just a little scared on that adjustment, especially getting down towards so much towards min. And on those rocks, I was a little afraid to go a little bit more. I should have went a little bit more. So I don't think my shot was that bad, but I should have went one more ring, and it might have been actually spot on, because it looks like deep and to the right, one extra ring would have been, since I was going back down and to the left, it would have brought it hopefully right on plane there. And unfortunately, my opponent made an unforced error, so for him, unfortunate, but so we're able to sneak out, and you can see, you know, I kept it on the green and just a little bit long, a little bit. Oh, it was really anything, just an underpull. Maybe just a little bit more to the left as well with the spin, just so I don't have to worry about bounce number 2 or 3 hitting that sand. As you can see, I was really riding that sand close, but should have just over just a little bit more than I did. But all in all, not too bad. We're back up to max on 12. That's pretty cool. So the only thing I'm missing now is a little bit of 11 and then all of 13. I've only really just took a couple dives at 13. 13 is a beast. But of course, I kind of jumped into 13 when I had not even played, a 7 wind in 3 years. So for me to even go, I think I went 50-50 or something. I've won like 3 matches. I've lost 3 matches, something to that effect. So I'm really close to 50-50, maybe, being even close to 50-50 and not dumping all my coins is a pretty cool thing. It's just going to take, like I mentioned, there's a little bit more practice. I'm starting to get there. I don't know if you guys are, noticing in this stream, but I'm not too terrible at 12. It might not be very dialed. It might not be the best guide for you guys to be using to go off of, but I can still talk through some of the concepts and help you at least get the logic down, and then you can just kind of fine tune just a little bit more. I know what my mistakes are, at least. So that's the good news. And that's the problem. I'm making, definitely making some mistakes, but, we're also winning some holes too, which is nice. Yeah, 90 million a game, no joke. Like I said, I dipped my toes in it, but I probably shouldn't have. I'd be more willing to dip my toes in it on this stream than when because like I said, when I actually dipped my toes into it, I had not even played, a 7 wind on this game. So to just jump in and try 13 was a bit ambitious, to say the least, because I hadn't played, any wind over 10 in probably 2 or 3 years, and to just dive right into 10. But the reason that I did it was because of the 90 million a game. For if you pick up a quick wins there, you can really start solidifying a bankroll for you. That looked like a really good shot. Did it stay in the fairway, or is that in the rough? I wasn't paying attention. It looked perfect on my screen. But I did not see the full roll out of it. I'm going to try to keep mine in play. That's step 1. That's usually what I used to do on this hole, is just make sure we're in play. Of course, there's always going to be times where you make mistakes and you might not. But if I can keep this in the fairway, it's always better than not keeping it in the fairway. So with that being said, I'm not going to try to do too much, even if that means that I don't get nearly as far down as my opponent tried to. What I'm trying to do more than anything, keep it out of that rough and just stay in the fairway. I know that where I'm at, just from back in the day, I should be able to get really close to the green or the rough with any wind that they could throw at me. And that's actually a good win for my opponent here. It looks like he did roll through, but, you know, realistically, I would imagine the way that I used to play this is different from what he used to do. I used to put this up to the very dead last of fairway instead of trying to just full, you know, overkill this and try to, because I really don't think he's getting it onto the green. And your kind of best case scenario, looking for the rough patch up there. And what I used to do is keep it right to the tip of the top of the fairway and then just try like a, you know, min thorn dunk or something. I used to really like that shot. Another thing I used to do on this one is if I was up here close enough, I would try to do more of a risky shot. You know, this is probably riskier than it needs to be, the shot that I'm about to try to hit, which is going to be full overpower. But what I liked about it is when you pull it off, you know, it's right up there on the green. So this is probably not the accepted way to play this shot because it's a little too risky, but it's the way that we're going to try it. And it just rolled through to the right, rough. Yeah, most guys like to bump that, as kind of like I was mentioned. I did just say, hey, Daniel, how's it going? I'm assuming that the rough bump there is the accepted way, because if you go for a precision shot, you can roll it up there. But what I like about that shot is exactly what I did. You get it up there to where it's essentially you assume that you're going to make it, like 100% of the time if you execute the shot. Whereas the rough bump, even a great ball could kill your rough bump. Now, what I expect is to be able to just make this. And the way that I used to do it was I would do this with a dunk. And the reason being, I'll show you why. If I pull the circle up here and I cheat the cup over to the right of the cup, maybe just a fraction, you can see probably a one ring pull and it still goes in. Even if I great ball this to the right, you know, I should still get the dunk. But of course we hit perfect, good to go. But that's the reason that I do like the dunk, because sometimes what you'll see is you'll put that, and you can only do that when you're like 5 yards or less. So you do have to be real, and maybe not 5's a good, maybe it's like 7 or 8 yards, but you know, it's just a way for you to still have some tolerance, because sometimes what I'll do is if I position that on the fringe and then hit a great ball, sometimes it'll just like lip out on the edge. And it's one of those annoying things that a dunk has a greater margin for error. But of course, it's only when you're really, really close to the hole. So if I would have great balled that, we would have still been good. As long as you just didn't two ring it. A two ring would be no good. But there we picked up another one. Of course, that was with no shootout. What are we at? So, you know, we've been working through. We've been doing pretty good overall. And I got this photo finish up to like 98. So how's it going, Daniel? See you in the chat. We'll have to try to, you know, work around your schedule, try to find a time. I don't know if you got up to pro, but if you did, we can try to, you know, maybe put something together next week for the pro. I guess there's a 9-holer today, right? I haven't even looked at that. Thanks, Keith. Thanks for popping in. Just doing some 12 here, having some fun. Like I mentioned, I kind of wasn't, I haven't done too much 12 yet. I've been doing more 11 than 12. But with that being said, I do have a good idea of some of these holes. And overall, we've been doing pretty good. So definitely pretty cool. We've been staying somewhat competitive here, not embarrassing ourselves. Thinking about going over power here. Oh no. Sure, that's not going to work out. It's got to be to the right. Is it going to hold? Nope. Not the end of the world. One of the reasons that I might sometimes overdo things and not be too worried about whether or not that stays in the fairway. Definitely wasn't going for a good ball. I can't believe I released that early. But one of the things that I do like is sometimes with that Nirvana, it comes in so low. It's like, in my mind, sometimes it's more holeable than the short iron shot can be. So it's not always the end of the world. So that's the reason that I'll play sometimes on those a little bit less cautiously. Because I do like the Nirvana. It's less rings, it kind of less ball guide effect at that range. It's very makeable. It just kind of requires a perfect. But depending on wind angle, it could be a very easy Falcon shot as well. Don't know what they're going to give us. It looks like it's pretty straight. So that actually probably advantage Falcon because of perfect ball. But let's just take a look. First off, see if I can bump it. I don't think I can. So with no bump, we have to kind of look at a couple different options. Hopefully we can get one of these short bounces instead of one of those firm bounces. Why don't we just try to size this up real quick? This is what I was mentioning. 25-30%. I'm running out of time, of course. 2 rings. Gonna have to just kind of eyeball this. Got a little rushed. Of course, the shot that I was going for just didn't quite set up the way that I was looking. I had to rush just a little bit more than I wanted. But I tried to pull as precise as I could in the short time, and fortunately I was able to get it. Yep, cool. Yeah, Daniel. Let's definitely figure something out. It'd be cool if we do. I think you popped in on that one where that caddy guy, he popped in and we did some. We just kind of matched up at the same time. It was pretty cool, and I think that'd be really cool if we could try to do that at the same time. Try to get both mic'd up and just kind of work off the shots a little bit. Try to make some things happen. I have not even played a pro tournament yet, so I'm not really sure what to expect, but I do like the fact that the balls are better. I have some practice tokens saved up, so I definitely want to try to get just a little bit more dialed on some of these shots for sure. There we got another one. We were able to grab the shot and just make it from the fairway. From the rough off the fairway. So let's jump back in 12. Hey Barry, how's it going? Thanks for popping in here and checking out the stream. Overall, we've got, a lot of shots that I felt somewhat comfortable with. And I haven't really done anything catastrophic on stream. So, you can definitely tell I'm getting some of it back to an extent. Gonna try to pop out of here. I notice a lot of people in 12. So I feel like if you're playing this tour, you're probably better off trying to only get the live if you can. Yeah, sure, Miller. I'm assuming if you're talking to me, I'm assuming what you're mentioning there is probably something that maybe a lot of guys know. They just don't talk about it. And if it's something that would be like an advantage, maybe they don't talk about it so it doesn't get patched, that type of thing. Kind of keep a competitive edge, so to speak. That would be my guess. The same kind of concept. So I play around on Ultimate Golf a decent amount. The same type of thing. Like the guys at the top level, they'll try to purposefully keep stuff hidden from other people instead of disclosing it. It's kind of a little frustrating because then it kind of makes the game a little bit less fair for the people that aren't in on the secret. Let's see if this holds on to the fairway. I'm not sure. I did not want to hit that great ball. I'll tell you that. It's probably a good thing I did hit it. I didn't realize it was going to run out that far. I would have definitely been in the rough. Again, though, same type of thing compared to less. I don't necessarily look at the rough there a bad thing. In my mind, I have to play less wind. There's less effect from the rough there than it is from the fairway. So I'm just as comfortable kind of with that adjustment from the rough. So I'm really not that upset that it rolls in the rough. And it really just comes down to my perfect ball, which obviously is harder to hit. But when you get it, I know it's close. Like as soon as I hit the adjustment with the perfect ball, it's like, okay, this has a chance. I'm assuming, you can say the same thing about Falcon, but what I like is it's a little bit less effect. So you can see this is up towards max club. It's going to be real close to a max adjustment. I'm probably going to play this really close to 10 rings. I don't even really have to punch this in, but I just wanted to show you 10-3 at max. We're not going to quite go to max, and we're also going to keep some sort of ball offset. So, it's usually pretty minimal. So you'll see that I'm not going to offset too much. Probably about a cup and a half for this club. And I'm thinking 10 rings is probably too much, so I'm not going to go quite 10. So maybe 9-6, 9-7. And we made another one. I'd say all in all, I'm actually not doing too bad on this stream. So this actually isn't that bad of a stream. I was thinking, my game, it just probably wasn't going to be there. But I really don't think this is too bad of a stream, especially for, I really haven't made pivotal mistakes, and we've been able to get some holeouts too, using some nice logic. Playing the wind effect. Playing pretty close to max. If you want to just see what this looks like, of course, I wasn't able to count down from max, but that's another technique that, I'm pretty sure that there's some guys that they probably have really elaborate cheats. I don't know if there's anything published, but I kind of figured this trick out on Ultimate Golf. If you count rings down from max, you can get a lot more dialed. So for instance, if I counted down 10 rings from max, and I knew that the span was, let's call it 60 rings, 50 divided by 60, 85%, 86%. It would tell you, go to 86% on the slider, you're going to be pretty close. It's a little tough to do in a time-based shot clock, but it's doable if you can get that speed down. And if your first thought is to go straight to max, just start pulling down, if you have a rough idea of where your target's going to be, you can definitely count like that. And it'll definitely help you get real dialed in on those adjustments. And I know there's some guys over here that know about that. And I would imagine there's probably more elaborate cheats that, a lot of guys might not be sharing. Maybe they're keeping it with plans, that type thing. But definitely would help you get a lot more dialed on some of those approaches. That's definitely something that I would recommend, is start messing around with that if you haven't. Now, if you understand what I'm talking about, the fusion span, no matter what the ball type is, or not fusion, it's apocalypse on this game. It's going to have a defined span. It doesn't matter if it's power 1, power 2, power 3, power 4, power 5. It's like a defined span. And I don't remember, I don't even know what it roughly is. But, and especially for crosswind types, It would definitely help you really dial in crosswinds, especially if you struggle with crosswinds, trying to memorize wind effect, that type thing. But just being able to know, 12 rings for max is where this shot setup is. It could be some good, useful information for you to have to really get, a little bit closer on the percentages. Yep, totally agree with that, Daniel. I'm fairly certain that it's not everybody's approach, and I would imagine that there's a lot of information that guys just don't know about because it's not published and stuff like that. But I'm assuming there's a lot of probably clans like that where they have probably a lot of information if they would just tell some people. But that's what gives them their competitive edge. So, they're less inclined to want to share that information. So we're going to lay up a little bit short here. Saw my opponent in the rough. I think I'm better off in the fairway. I've not even played this one in 12 at all. But I was hoping with my opponent being kind of in trouble, maybe I could sneak up and get a little bit closer on the approach than he'll be able to. It's kind of my goal here. Yeah, I could see that being the case too. Some guys might want to kind of take credit for something they didn't necessarily come up with. I'm not sure if this is going to make it to the other side. My guess is it actually won't. But I think worst case scenario, it just lands barely short, and we're still in the fairway on the other side. So let's go 5 rings, 10 rings, somewhere around here. Like I said, I don't expect this to make it to the fairway, but it might. Oh, it did. I should have top spun it just a touch more, I bet. That's okay. Like I mentioned, I think that's going to be really makeable. Even just got to hit our perfect. I don't necessarily hate being in the rough, but I totally could have got to that green. That's like that's one of those unforced errors. This could have been another win that I could have had, probably pretty easily. I would imagine this is going to be a hard one to hole. Now, I do like the fact that he has a 45% ball and might be able to do this bump, but I also think going up to the fairway, changing elevations, might not be the easiest to hole, but definitely doable. Another thing I'd be worried about is it maybe stopping on the front lip. So I'd be, if it was me, I'd be a little bit more aggressive with my top spin just to make sure that it doesn't stop right on the front. Kind of exactly like that. I feel like I foreshadowed that one pretty well. So we got another perfect and right into the pin, another straight up win. Like I said, I think that was a pretty good angle for him to be able to make that. The only issue was, as you could see, the tops, like that wind effect just shatters your guide. It looks like he landed really well, and it just came up short as a result of wind effect. Miller time. What was your name on Messenger? I'm trying to remember. Talking to you. I talked to a lot of guys over the days. Overall, we're doing pretty good on this Tour 12 stream. It's funny though. Like I'll go through a stretch on 12 or 13 where it doesn't quite work out. Like you'll sometimes find a stretch of opponents. I've had times where we'll get one of those nasty par fives. My opponent, he pulls out a power five, win five, or all kinds of crazy stuff, and it's like I'm just gonna stick to my Kingsmaker. Like maybe I make the shootout against you. Like you can have the win if you want to use that ball because I'm just not going there. And I've gone through stretches where it'll be that, or it'll be losing a shootout by half a yard, like just a real small span. So even me coming back, and it doesn't always go this smooth. There was 3-4 game slides that I'd have, but I was always able to in 12 I've bounced back pretty well. And what I like to do, you can see I keep refreshing. I'm trying to shoot for live opponents. I've seen anytime I've been looking in Tour 12, there's almost always live guys. So that's another thing I've been trying to do is just try to get, live guys. And also, I never really liked rematching. So that's why I just kind of back out. I don't really like to predict what other guys' schedules are. And also at the same time, if I took one from them, I don't want to take another one from them just in case. Vice versa, the same thing could happen. They could take one from me and then take another one from me. I hate kind of getting in that mindset to where you might lose 2 in a row and then it just kind of sets your progress back. So a lot of times I've always done this, I just always back out of the game no matter what. I don't like matching up with the same person twice because, one way or the other, if they're working towards something, I don't want to deflect them from their progress. Or vice versa. Like if I lose one, I just kind of want to clear my head, not let that dictate my next match. Oh, another tailwind. I did not want to see that. I did not want to be inclined to go for this again. So I already got this shot. I consider it probably pretty lucky. I'm definitely going to say that. I did not expect to hit this shot and execute it, but I did. So I guess we're gonna try to do it again. I'm assuming that I'm probably pressing my luck. And it's not going to work out, but you never know. I think the camera view there said it all, that it wasn't going to work out. I really don't know what I'm doing, and I haven't played that enough times to have any feel for it. I just had to pull back marginally more, and we would have pulled that off. I guess this is another approach. I'd never even really thought to go potentially hook slice on this off this left fairway on those big tailwinds. I might have to think about that next time. I bet you I could maybe do it with the Titan. I bet you this is too much. I wouldn't even do what he's doing. If it was me, I would do less. Now, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know what I'm talking about, but he's not even doing hook slice though. I'd imagine this is definitely going to stay in play, which means I'm going to need another tailwind. Nope, never mind. I guess I'm wrong on that. I feel a tiny bit committed here to do this again. But I should look at this as kind of like an even-Steven match. I can't believe I'm going. I really don't think I should go for this. I really think I'm going to not pull it off again. And I think this win's even tougher. I just don't know enough about that shot to feel any way confident in pulling it off. So I'm going to kind of overpull my rings here and maybe use some curl. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I thought if anything though, he wasn't gonna curl it enough to get it over that water because what I if I would have done it, I would have did hook slice. I would have did a super slice shot, and then I would have known it was going over that water. I thought he was maybe gonna just hang it out to the left too much, not have enough curl on it. But like you mentioned, since he didn't give himself enough room for it to curl, he needed to aim more left. Then it probably wouldn't have went out of bounds. Since he didn't give it enough room, it landed far right of where he was initially pointed. And that's probably the biggest thing that went wrong on that shot is not factoring in that it was going to land long into the right and not just long up where the target was pointed. It's landing at least 3 or 4 rings to the right of that. So you have to factor it in. And then he would have never went over that, like worst case scenario, it would have been way too far in the rough, for example. So this looks like he pulled it off. Oh, no, I'm wrong. I thought that was the good camera view. So that's why I didn't want to go for that shot. I was worried I was going to do it again. With a little tailwind, we would have made that. With this, we're going to go hook slice, and this is going to be a real hard hook slice. So I don't expect too much from this. But I like to go hook slice here, if I can. No power hook slice. Awkward to say the least. What's that? 5 rings, 10, 15. Somewhere in here, just to be safe. That's probably over. I probably went too much. I'm just trying to be a little bit cautious. All in all, not too bad. Again, you could always play it like that if you wanted to play it safe. Oh, wow, look at this. The live feed here is well behind where I actually am. I've already hit the shot. And did you guys just see me right now? Just get control of the camera. I'm not sure where my feed is. Third time's the charm. I have no idea. I don't even know if this can make it. I'm assuming it made it. The problem with that is, though, are you guaranteed you can make the green from there? I'm not sure. But I'd be interested in seeing because I'd like to know kind of for my future. Because maybe I'll start doing that a little bit. We use maybe a ring or two here. It's at just outside the edge of the cup. And try to slow down, try to get my perfect if I can. I think I'm just in that range where I don't want to pull. So we made a mistake. We probably should have lost this one. Oh man, I really wanted to actually see him set up there. I'm assuming that means maybe he can't get to the hole on that. Because I've never even seen anybody play from down there. I would have liked to have seen that one for sure. Okay, so the audio and video are in sync. That's cool. So that means the playback when I'm watching it on the computer is just behind. So like right now, I haven't even shot. I haven't even shot my wedge shot yet on the computer. You guys want to do a couple more? Is there any feedback or anything guys particularly want to see? I could do a couple tournament holes if you wanted. Kind of either or. We've been kind of working through 12. Not doing too bad overall. What's this? Drummore 8. Really not even sure what hole that is. Oh, I remember playing this one before. I think with topspin, you're trying to do some kind of hop shot off that fairway. It kind of, I can't remember anything about the spins, but I remember playing this. You know, I probably played this like one tournament. So before I left, that's how long I've been displaced from game. This tournament or this course had just came out. We had one tournament here. We had one in Portello. And I don't remember too much outside of, you know, 2 tops plays on some of this stuff. And I don't even remember this being in tour back in the day. I remember it. I remember at one point they put Portello there, and then I think they took it away because it was too hard for people. I think I just clearly remember this, that they took it away from tour for being too difficult. All right, I have no idea if I can pull this off or not. I'm going to do something along the lines of this-ish. 8 rings. Some overpower. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this doesn't work out exactly how I'm playing it. It might be in the fairway, but I just have a feeling that it's going to either clip the rough somewhere. Nope, that's more or less what I was trying to do. I just felt with that wind angle, and especially with not playing this hole and probably forever, I just felt like it was going to land short on me, or just like something that I wasn't accounting for was going to happen. Gotcha. Yeah. So even back then, though, I remember tour 11 was the longest for the Portello. I think was the first, like it came into 12 when 12 was just opening. Like 12 wasn't open for very long. And, you know, I hadn't even really played too much of it. There was another good shot, left it just short. Same kind of thing, you know, that effect, you gotta try to make sure that you give it just a little bit more than what you see on the ball guide. We're gonna be up there close to max. Same type of thing, you know, I'm gonna make sure to, maybe I'm gonna go right edge here for some effect. I really don't know how many rings to go. I'm not nearly as dialed as I see some of these guys with these wet, but I understand why they are. They, you know, especially you've been playing this game for a long time. I can imagine this shot is almost like cake to you at this point, because you know, it never really was all that difficult to begin with. Let's try right in here, maybe 10.5 rings. Perfect ball. Probably a little bit light is my guess. You did see I tried to offset just a little bit to the right, and it still missed to the left. I'd say more than anything, I just under adjusted. So probably should have went a little bit closer to max. But kind of looking forward to some shootouts. I was hoping to get this, what's it called? Photo finish, the 100 wins in shootouts. I was hoping to get through that. We've actually had quite a few wins without shootout in this stream. Okay, so here we're going to play pretty close to max. I'm going to take off some backspin, I feel. I'll play close to max with my shot. Maybe a little bit of curl. What's that, 11 rings? This feels pretty good overall. I'm actually going to go maybe just a tad bit beyond 11. So that's a little bit of an overpull. Little too much on the curl. I wasn't 100% sure how much to go. It probably wasn't pointed quite left enough for me to need to I might have barely even needed to touch the curl there. I still think I have maybe a slight advantage with the with him having Titan, but it looks like he's doing more or less what I did, which is he took off his backspin. That would have been probably the biggest mistake that players would make here, would be to not take off the backspin. And I remember this hole distinctively. I used to play this one all the time. He's even taking on more backspin. He had, 1 or 2 miles per hour more than me. If I would have came off just a little bit more on that curl, I think I would have had a really good chance to win this one. I'm worried that I hung it out just a little bit too much. Oh, but he clipped the bunker. I live to fight another day. It almost seems like maybe just a slight underpull. What did I have? I only had, was it 10 something? Yeah, so 10 versus 14, a lot tougher to play. And you can actually see the effect there. Just, I thought he was over the bunker, and his was definitely coming in a little bit better line than mine. So I think it was going to beat mine. It just had to get over the bunker. And you can see it just came up short. So we crept out a win there. We've done a good amount of 12. I want to jump back to 11 real quick. I'm assuming at this point you guys probably don't mind. Since I'm missing trophies from here, I just want to try to, get some of these filled out if I can. But we're also on an 8-game heater here too. So 8 in a row in 12 is not bad. And like I mentioned, I'd like to just go in 11. I've been playing more of this. It's funny. It's probably ironic because I told you guys at the beginning that I haven't played much 12, and I was a little hesitant and worried. and then I actually rattled off some pretty good wins there. It's going to be, I feel like this is going to be like just one of those funny moments where I go back to 11 and I'd say about how I've been playing this one, and then I like roll off 2 or 3 losses here. I feel more comfortable in these shots. I feel like I know what I have to do on these. It's kind of what I'm meaning there. That was actually a really nice shot. I like that. I didn't see what he did at all. I was just going to go straight out here. In fact, I still might. I'm worried about making that shot if I do go to where he did. I feel like I'm going to just miss it, or they're going to give me a tough wind angle, and I didn't see what ball. You might have a really good ball. Let's go over here, kind of 1 per ring. Little bit of, oh my goodness, that was terrible. Is that even gonna be in play? Not bad. Too much topspin. Again, kind of like I was mentioning though, I'm not terribly upset about the rough per se. And that's kind of why I overdo things at times. Because I'm not too terrified of being in the rough. But of course, if this guy makes this, it's gonna kind of make things a little bit trickier. I kind of almost wish that I went for that shot because I definitely think, especially with this wind angle. I didn't know, of course, what wind angle he was going to have, but 55% ball, I definitely think he has a really good chance of making this. Just a little bit high. So we should get to the shootout. Unless, of course, I make it. Uphill, let's just take a look. This is kind of my quick diagnose of this, which 68%. Also keep in mind it's not going to be 68% because this is a definite uphiller for sure. And plus, this is one of those that it's going to start to play wind effect. So I'm going to start factoring in for that. So you see that I'm offsetting slightly, 68%. But we're also not going to go 68%. So I'm going to use this as just kind of like a ceiling value, 5.3, and we're just going to stay under it a little bit. So right in here, it'd be 5.1. Got it perfect. Maybe just not enough effect. I don't get in those kind of long distance Nirvana shots too often. I'm usually careful when I know I have to be. So I'm usually only doing it when I'm half club or less, to where I get like super aggressive and don't mind being in the rough. So with that being said, I might have been a little light with my wind effect there. I feel kind of good about underpulling in terms of rings, just because of it kind of going uphill there. Maybe could have been a little bit less, but I probably should have had just a little bit more wind effect. So I'm still learning, trying to get back into the gist of, what my ball guides is for certain clubs like my short iron. I feel pretty comfortable with, but I definitely don't have everything down. And of course, this course in general, I am not a huge fan of the shootouts. So even when I play these, and of course playing them against guys with 55% balls, I give them huge advantage over me. I expect to lose these. This course to me is a bear. I'm not comfortable with it, and the ones that I'm really not playing well, the shootouts, are definitely this course. So I don't expect my opponent to, have too bad of an unforced error here. I think he's going to probably hit a little bit hard shot for me to beat. I'm looking at his curl. He's right about where I have 3 bars of curl. So I'm going to try to utilize that advantage, or utilize that information to my advantage, I hope. And also, hopefully, the fact that he rolled out too far. I did not expect to have 11 yards to play with here. I think I got a little fortunate there. I'm going to utilize very close to his curl. And I think I'm going to do about this. You can see the ball guide, it's kind of keeping it a little bit short. Might actually stretch it out just a touch because I feel like it's more of a crosswind. We're going to stretch it out some. Plus 25, 12, 13 and a half rings. Plus I'm going to do right about his exact curl that he did with 8 miles. I'm going to do with 12. Maybe just a little bit over on my curl. But all things considered, actually more so than anything, I bet you it's more of an overpull. I definitely think I landed right of target. So I've been doing plus 25-ish, but it's usually on a tailwind. That was more of a side wind, so I think I overpulled that. So, just as a rule of thumb there, maybe you could try to underdo that. We did get this photo finish, so that's pretty cool. We had a pretty nice win streak in this stream as well. For those, just popping in now or who might have only caught half of it, we did do pretty good. So, I think it's at least worth checking out, for guys who may be a little bit lost on tour play or whatnot. We definitely made some mistakes. And I definitely agree that there's a good chance that some of the shots that I did win, definitely I could have lost. Definitely that last shot, I've had guys, well within, what was I, about 5 yards there or something. I would have liked to get just a little bit closer than that. But all things considered, like I said, that shootout and the driver one, what is it, like White Sands or something? Great White Sands. I forget what the name of that course is. It was the one in last tournament, wasn't it? Oh, no, Old Bridge Park. No, that's not the one from last tournament. Old Bridge Park, that has some beast par threes in it. I have not hit very great shots on that yet. You also got to consider, I've never played them in 10, 12 mile per hour winds ever. So there's definitely a feel and learning curve that I'm not quite up on, but I get the gist of what needs to be done with the ball guides. I can kind of help you guys navigate it, and you can see what we're trying to do, kind of curl against the wind to try to get the ball to the right, and I probably just over-adjusted my rings on that last one there. Let me try to catch up in the chat. I saw Daniel pop out. Sorry to see him go. Tommy, I think I mentioned this last stream. Somebody might have brought up a similar question. I kind of feel like, if I would have had my game knowledge that I had and like all the accounts way back then, I'd probably be better off on this game, I feel. I definitely like the concept of tournaments every direction. I asked them for that for years. That's one of the main reasons I got so bored and burnt out on this game, is because I do not like to manufacture shots. I do not like to micro adjust and just say, oh, I went 12-5 on this one. Let me go 12-4 here because the wind angle is a little, like, I don't want to hit the same shot 5 times in a row at all. Never have. It's never something that I liked. So it was, I'm never striving to be like a top tournament player or anything just because of that mentality. So the fact that they changed the tournaments to switch every division, I would have been all over that, and I would have definitely liked this game a lot more. With that being said, I'm probably never getting back to that point to where I can actually be competitive at that level, because I'm not gonna commit the time to this game or resources or anything. We're on this account. We're probably sticking with this account. Eventually I'll get it to master. We'll do one tournament playthrough. But, with that being said, you have to be realistic about like how good can I play with one account and no repetition, no extra shots, especially if you're not going to spend. I'm on the edge on whether or not I'm going to, contribute financially. When I was coming up in this game, I used to support it. I definitely spent, pretty penny, less on balls, more so on clubs. So like in the early, you could buy, the clubs in the shop 20 at a time. It was that type of thing. Like I would take advantage of that just so I could get those accounts up, so I could kind of learn and master the game. And then it finally got to a point where I started, okay, well, I kind of need this club to, figure out ring adjustments, like that type of thing. So I could, where we started putting together ring sheets and starting to needing clubs to be able to fill in this data, that type of thing. So, I did spend, a lot of money on this game early on, and, I'm just kind of on the fence about, but yeah, it would have been great to have this game back in the day. It's disappointing that it kind of worked out the way that it is. Like I said, I'm probably not going to get back to that point ever. So I wouldn't expect that. But we can come on, we can have some fun. Rapier 5, Endbringer 5. I would probably say Rapier 8 if it was me. I do really like Endbringer, but I'm trying to think of how it developed, and I feel like it's a little slow. 5 is where I know it got a boost at 5 that I really liked. I think it was Ball Guide. So that's where the Ball Guide finally gets to be kind of nice. I think it's lacking in some topspin. But Rapier 8, it's one of those clubs that develops pretty early on. And if you can just give up just a little bit of Ball Guide, it's definitely a huge weapon. So until your Endbringer goes up, maybe Rapier. Doing pretty good on Stewart on 12. If you want to follow the playback, we went on a pretty hot win streak. I only played 1 in 11. So I won 8 in a row on 12. 8 in a row on 12, and I think we had at least 1 or 2 more wins in there. I probably played a dozen, probably won 10, something like that. So I didn't lose too many. So it's a good stream if you're looking for, like, this is my setup. Obviously I think you could go through the same stretch, and you could just go through, like I mentioned kind of earlier on the stream, you could go through a period where you might lose 4 or 5 in a row, or even 3, 4, 2. Like, you could go on a definite losing streak, even hitting a lot of really good shots. In 12 for sure. I've even had it happen to me, but then on this streak, we're able to get it all back, that type of thing. So it's like one of those things that you just kind of got to grind through it. You do have kind of my landing zones where I've been using for the stream, so you can kind of use it as a guide. Overall, I think we played maybe 5 or 6 shootouts. We actually, we were able to take advantage of and get some really nice eagles as well. I hold out quite a few shots, and I had some opponents try to get a little too aggressive, trying to go for the easy win, that type thing. And we kind of took advantage of those situations. So kind of all over the place, but yeah, thanks guys for coming into the stream. Like I said, I appreciate having you guys. 50 strong, pretty positive. Having you guys all in the chat for this long. I've tried to engage as much as I could without sacrificing my game too bad. But the content on this one, I think overall it's pretty good. If you guys do want to see some of this backpacking, maybe I could come back for another stream at some point, maybe for a 9-hole. We'll see. Next week for sure. We'll try to do one streak with the Grizzly. It's going to be Pro Division, so I don't know how many are in here in Pro. Probably not very many. Well, I'm not really 100% sure, but we're working our way up to get into where we can play some Expert, play some Master, and kind of work through it. Z-ring that you move around. Is it this? So the reason being, so up here, I think it's in the way of the ball spin at times. When it's here, it's sometimes in the way of the club change. So I've been moving it around. Just apologize for that. It's basically it's the YouTube feed. So it's providing the content. So yeah, I just had to move it around. I try to get it to where it's not where it's not showing over top my rings, like that type of thing. But yeah, sorry about it being there, but that's the reason why it's there, is because it's the stream feed, and it's really hard to put it somewhere where it's not blocking anything. I haven't really found a really great spot for it to just stay. But I'll try to do what I can to, I'm trying to think maybe a bottom corner. The other thing that I don't like about putting it down here is I don't want it being in my shot circle when I'm shooting. But it's really hard to find a spot for that. Yeah, so sorry about that, but that's why it's there. It's the YouTube feed. But thanks for coming out today, guys. Hopefully you guys learned some things in 12. And like I said, you know, it is worth checking out the replay in the event that you are struggling with 12 and maybe want to see a different perspective, because I've kind of been displaced from the game. We did pretty good overall. So thanks for coming out, guys, and appreciate all the comments in the chat, reading through. So, you know, good luck out there, guys. You know, feel free to comment if you have additional questions that might need answered. Comment on the video after the live stream, and I'll try to do the best that I can to at least, you know, read the feedback, or, you know, if it's a pressing question, I'll try to answer it as well. But have a good one, guys. See you guys later.